Do you need inspiration, motivation, or hope? Do you let fear hold you back? Sometimes you feel lost or just stuck in your own thoughts, and you want a clear path to give you results. Then, my friend, you are in the right place. My name is Rachel Best, and I am your host of How to Make a Mark in the World, Finding Your Signature. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness. We are here again for another episode, number 34. I'm so excited. And today we have an amazing special guest. We are a part of the same community. We met through a big community that we're both a part of. And we got an opportunity to connect a few weeks ago. And Justin's story is just so impactful. And I asked him to be a guest on the show just to share who he is and what he's gone through, the obstacles, the challenges, and how he's gotten to here and how he is making a mark in the world. So Justin, go ahead and share with us, who are you and how are you making a mark in the world?
Yes, first and foremost, thank you for having me on again. So my name is Justin Danforth. I am the founder of Danforth Fitness, which is where we help people become the best versions of themselves by overcoming limiting beliefs, all limiting beliefs, and the vices and obstacles that stand in their way. And we do this by a way of a number of things in which we instill the discipline it takes in order to become the best you can be. So that's who I am. How I got to where I'm at. We all have bad seasons in life, right? And in 2002, I had one of those bad seasons. When I first turned 21, I got locked up facing a life sentence without the possibility of parole. So I was incarcerated with an 8th grade education, and my daughter was only 10 months old. So clearly I'm home now, and I've been home for 7 years, but I did serve a total of 14 years and 4 months on that sentence. As tragic as that sounds, that's not the worst of it. So the worst of it is the mindset that I had, the thought process that I had going into prison, the events that led up to me going to prison and landing me in prison for that amount of time, facing the charge and the sentence that I received was the worst of all, right? It was that mindset, that thought process. I had been doing wrong for so long. I was really, really good at doing bad stuff, like just having a criminal mentality and just thinking that it was okay to chase pleasures in life, like instant gratification. Like if you're having a bad day, drink a beer or drink alcohol, right? That's what men do, right? That's how we grew up. In my time, that's what men do. On the weekends, they grab alcohol and watch football or a hard day's worth of work. You had a hard day at work, you grab alcohol, you drink, whatever. Also along the same lines, and when I was growing up, it was the same mentality with smoking weed. And we all know that these things are all a gateway into not just other drugs or other substances, but they're also a gateway into the wrong mentality to have towards dealing with and facing your problems. And so for me, going to prison was the greatest thing that ever happened for me in life. It didn't happen to me, right? And hopefully your audience can stipulate the difference between, already know the difference between, the victim mentality and the victorious mentality. Those who play victim, everything happens to them. Those who are survivors and the victor, right, the champions in life, everything happens for us, no matter how detrimental the adversities that we face are. And so that, for me, going to prison was the greatest thing that ever happened for me. And because I say that, and I'm able to say that with a smile and gratitude for it, because it gave me the chance, it gave me the opportunity to sit with myself. Now being home 7 years, I notice a lot of people don't take that chance to sit with themselves. So prison it forced me to just sit with myself And the longer I sat with myself, the more disgusted I became with who I was, where I was, and who I had become at that time. And so, I made a decision to change. And as we all know, change don't come overnight. Change isn't just easy. I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to change the trajectory of the rest of my life. And it happened, right?
Right.
So what I discovered by sitting with myself and the desire to change is that all the pain and affliction that I was going through by being in prison, away from everything was snatched away from me, including my daughter, and everything else you could think of, my freedom, right? As we all know how precious our freedom is. What I discovered was I was still able to make the decision to change, make the choice to wake up every day and do something better, do something to move the needle towards self-improvement, self-betterment, self-mastery, whatever word or label you want to place on it, but it's all personal growth and development. And so I just started reading the same books everybody's reading. The majority of your audience has probably already read all the books that I've read. The only difference between anybody and me is I implemented what I was reading. So I started to not just take it at face value, the words on the page, but really understand how did it apply, or how could I apply it to what I was going through in order to become the best person I could become.
Wow. I have lots of notes here. You said a lot.
I'm sorry.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing because we've only been on for 5 minutes and I have a lot of notes, and I love that you touched on so many of those points of how life happens for me, because all of our choices, right? All of our choices, we can be at cause or an effect in life, and being at cause is taking the responsibility of how did I play a role, in being an effect is making those excuses and the victim mentality of, life happened to me. We make choices to get us into those situations, right? Like those unfortunate situations, we made the choices. And so, and like you said, like that, the criminal mentality, that's a huge thing. I never even really thought about that, because like I'm a mindset coach. I love talking about the mind, the brain, and how it all goes together, and programmings and all those things. And, I never thought about having a mindset of the criminal mentality of that it's okay to, crack open the beer. It's okay to go smoke. Like that was your environment. That's what you grew up with. And so like, that's a mindset. Until you just said that, like it never even like really registered in my head. That's a mindset. Right. And so, yeah, you said so many good nuggets right there. And, you being the victor, and how did this happen for you? And, sitting with yourself, being able to sit in the moment, and it made you stop, right? Like you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything. So all you had was sitting with yourself and figuring it out. So share with us a little bit about like that, when you were sitting with yourself and you had time to really reflect on the things that got you there. Like what were some of those, what was some of that like?
So extremely painful, right? And I learned that a lot of men, young boys maturing into men or growing up, including myself, we have this hard shell. But what I discovered was we're not hard, we're hurt. And we never, the way I was raised is men don't expose their emotions. You suck it up. You don't cry. You don't complain. You don't whine. You suck it up and you do what you got to do. You do what it takes to handle responsibility. No matter what that responsibility may entail. And so what I found was a lot of, I dealt with a lot of pain from my past, from growing up, and I was hurt more than I was hard. And so when I realized that distinction, I was able to go even deeper inside and use that pain as a source of power, which is the greatest source of power anybody can have. Because once you understand the pain and affliction that you've been through in your life, and you understand that you overcame it at some point, that's power. That grants you the confidence and self-esteem. It lets you know, it tells you, not anybody else, it informs you, a notification that you overcame that. And so when I realized that it's a perception thing, for me, it was all perception. It was like, if I'm going to put you on a diet, most people, the first thing they do is all they think about is what I can't have, what I can't eat. Instead of, this is what hungry feels like, but this is what becoming, losing weight or getting the result that I want feels like, right? The perception is different. So there was a time where all I could think about was getting out of prison. That's all I could think about, was just getting out of prison. I was going nowhere for a very long time, but all I could think about was getting out of prison, until I changed my perception into, well, how do I change myself so that I never come back to prison? Simple mind shift, right? So when I figured out that I could use my pain, my past, to elevate myself, I had a big transitional moment right then and there, transformational moment right then and there. And then it just, as with anything, once you start to achieve small wins, you start to achieve more confidence. You start to take more risk, and you start to bet on yourself more. Or even if you're betting on something else, if you're winning, you're going to bet more. So I began to bet on myself more, and take more challenges. And the challenges were change, not smoking weed, not drinking in prison, like, because you can still get alcohol in prison, you can still get drugs in prison, you can still, there's a whole lot of things, lot of things that go on in prison. You or your audience may not be aware of, but it's almost just as much as being out here, except you're just in prison, right? So a lot of people's like, oh, of course you quit smoking because you can't do that in prison. No, that's not why I quit smoking, because yes, you can smoke in prison. Yes, you can drink in prison. So, and yes, you can lust. So all of the negative things and emotions and all that, it still exists in there. So I made a conscious effort every day to stick to a program, my process, my daily process that begins at a certain time in the morning, regardless of anybody's morning routine. But we all know that those are the most successful, have a morning routine. So my daily habits were starting the day with wins, small victories. And that snowball, that built momentum for me to train my thought process, because again, it don't happen overnight. It's no different than if anybody wants to become good at anything. What do you have to do? You have to practice that thing relentlessly. I don't know if somebody said like 10,000 hours in one skill set, right? Before you become master at it. And so I said that to say I had to literally train my mind not to curse, right? So that my tongue wouldn't say. So now I could stump my toe or anything, and I'm not gonna shout a curse word. As with most, they might not speak foul language, but if they smash their finger in the door, they're gonna shout a curse word. That's just a small example, but I said that to say I had to train my mind that doing the right thing, as hard as it is, because it was so hard to do right. I had been doing wrong for so long. It was hard to do right. And that's why I said I embraced the challenge and the pain of transformation, the change, because it was not easy. It's too easy. It's too easy to have instant gratification. We want everything instant. We want instant potatoes, instant coffee, instant higher speed internet, DoorDash. Like, we don't want the pizza to be 30 minutes late so we can get it free like we used to. Back when I was growing up, we timed the pizza delivery guy. As if he's 1 second over 30 minutes, we were happy. Now we want DoorDash. We want Uber Eats there now. We'll pay the extra. And so delayed gratification is another thing that I became really, really big on, because I found that the instant gratification, the pleasure chasing is what got me where I was at. Simple and plain. From all of the most negative things you could think of, money, clothes, and women, right? It's simple and plain. Pleasure chasing is what got me where I was. So I discovered, sitting with myself, as you said, that process, what I was going through was very painful, and that pain became my gift. So again, it's a perception thing. I looked at the adversity. Me sitting in prison was a gift. It was a blessing, as they say, a blessing in disguise, right? It was the Trojan horse, right? It was that blessing that I was receiving, because now I had the opportunity to become the best person I can be. And that developed into my life's purpose, and that's something we can talk about later.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like again, I have so many notes here, because you you touched on the delayed gratification, and we are like, by studying, I'm a neurolinguistics coach, and so I learned all about the programming of the brain and the mind and how things are processed, and when we're young is when all those things, there's different stages of our life that we get these programmings from our environment, from our family, and just how there's 86 billion neurons in our brain, and how it's neuroplasticity, and so like it's moldable and it's changeable. And so that's exactly what you did. And I have this, when I do my presentation, there's this, it reminds me of like, there's a couple different ones of like, when you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, you've created in your brain, you've created this rut in your brain, and there's billions of neurons waiting to be connected. But if they're connected to the wrong thing, then what your brain does and your mind does is instantly, oh yeah, this is what he did the last time, this is what we're going to do again. And so you had to intentionally train your brain, change your mind to change the neurons in your brain to delayed gratification. And that, about how long would you say that took you to be able to really shift that? How long did that take you?
It took years. Yeah. So I didn't even decide to change for the first 4 years of my incarceration. Like I didn't make that decision. Like I was still living in prison the way I would have lived out in the street for about the first 4 years. And then that's when, like I said, the more I sat with myself, the more disgusted I became, the more I realized this is just not it. This is not who you were meant to be. And then of course it took years to develop a better mindset and a thought process that would spend every day growing and learning how to become more and become better and to live out my life's purpose.
Yeah. And you said, you made the decision, you had a desire to change, and each day you celebrated those small wins, because when we celebrate those small wins, people disregard those small wins. And so when we really are intentional because we want the big picture, right? Because with the instant gratification, so we want it all right now. But by just acknowledging those small wins and then another small win, those compound together, and then you have all these wins. And so I love that you have just you changed, you decided to change, you made the decision, you celebrated the wins. And so share with us a little bit, like how you, like, where this all like ties together with your fitness. Like, how did this all come together?
I'm glad you asked that. Perfect question. So I have found that with fitness, with nutrition and fitness, it instills in you the delayed gratification aspect. You cannot get a six pack overnight. You cannot lose 50 pounds overnight. You cannot build, 20-inch biceps overnight. So all of the results, the majority of people, we all, not even the majority of people, we all want to look better. Whether we lie to ourselves or not and say, oh, I don't need that body, or I don't need that to lose that weight, whatever. We all want to look better. Mm-hmm. If I just had, if I could just say, you could look 100%, you could have any body you want overnight, it would be a better body. Anybody would say, oh, I want this body. And it wouldn't be the body that they currently have, right? So, but it instills in you delayed gratification. You have to eat right. You have to work out consistently for a period of time in order to get the results that you want. And so that's how I discovered through nutrition and fitness that delayed gratification, it applies to everything else in life. And it instills in you the discipline it takes to become a great husband or wife, or to become a great father or mother. It instills in you the discipline, because all of the responsibilities that we have as adults, right, take discipline. We can't have an effort attitude and not care if our child eats or not, or if the rent gets paid or not, right? So even as an entrepreneur, you have to have the discipline it takes to run a business. Even as an employee working a 9-to-5 or a corporate job, you have to have the discipline it takes to show up every day, right? So through delayed gratification, it instills in you the discipline it takes to become the best version of yourself. Because in order to become the best version of yourself, you have to do what? Have discipline to consciously think better and do better every single day and never look back. Because it's easy to just stuff our face with, pumpkin spice donuts every October, right? Mm-hmm. Or pumpkin spice lattes. It's easy to just, not do the things that we should be doing in order to be better and just be lazy about it. If we want, no matter what the goal is, like I said, even if you want a better relationship, you want better finances, you want to be a better child to your parent, or a better parent to your child, right? Everything takes a conscious effort in order to become the best you can be. If you just want better patience while sitting in traffic, it takes that discipline. And so through nutrition and fitness, that's how I help to instill that aspect of delayed gratification, that discipline it takes to work on other areas in my life, because I know if I can do it here, then I can do it here, here, and here. Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good. And so how long have you had your fitness, your business?
So when I was training, personal training in prison, guys, what we call on the yard, right? Back then. So I knew coming home, that's what I wanted to do. So when I first came home, I was doing in-person one-on-one training. Mm-hmm. Well, COVID happened. They shut gyms down and things of that nature. And I didn't realize there was an online aspect. So bear in mind, when I got locked up, there was no such thing as iPhones, Facebook, YouTube, like all of the social media stuff. There was none of that. The closest thing to a text message was what was called a two-way page. I don't even know if anybody knows what that is. And they had just came out. Wow. Right? It was a two-way pager. Phones did not take pictures. There was no camera phones. There was none of this texting or nothing. So I said all that to say, I didn't realize I could do personal training virtually or online. And so I've now established that, and it's been going on for this month makes a year. I've been doing online personal training.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's big. That's awesome. Yeah. So you have like a plan, and you have what does your coaching look like?
Great question, and thank you for asking. So I have my own app. So I do a custom nutritional plan. I do a custom workout plan, whether you have a gym or you just want to do it at home or wherever. I do a custom workout plan. Everything is put into the app. You log into the app. You have everything right there. You have direct messaging to me through the app. We can message back and forth, and I'm able to hold you accountable, because I can see everything you're doing through the app and everything you're not doing. So the second I see you didn't meet your calorie goals or you didn't do your workout, I can message you and say, hey, is everything okay? I noticed you didn't work out at your usual time today. So I'm able to have that. It's better than one-on-one in-person training because I'm really able to hold you accountable at all times. You don't have to wait, 5 o'clock tonight to show up at a gym for 1 hour to get your questions answered, and then you don't see me no more. Like, this is all access. So you have your custom workout, nutrition, and then we jump on a Zoom call once a week to go over any questions or anything you're struggling with, because it's also mindset. It's mindset, fitness, and nutrition. So anything if you have problems with the workout, you need to make adjustments, or you have problems at work or whatever, we hop on a call and just hash it out to keep you moving forward every single day. So that way, Friday, we're not letting our hair down and drinking all weekend, throwing away all the wins we just stacked from Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you. I love that. I might need you. I might need to talk later offline.
Well, definitely. As Black Friday sales are on, and even without the Black Friday sale, I have the most affordable personal coaching program there is for the amount of value we provide. So
that's awesome. I love it. And mindset is such a huge part of that. So I love that you incorporate that into there. So that's fantastic. So, Justin, tell us, because we're coming to an end here, tell us, first of all, how can people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you?
On Instagram, if you can see the name is at Danforth_fitness. So just look me up on Instagram at Danforth_fitness and send me a message.
Okay, perfect.
As they say, DM me. If you just DM me, you're going to get me. I don't have bots and VAs or nobody else. If you DM me, you're going to get direct access to me.
Awesome. Then share with us, okay, so we're coming to an end of 2023, and I'm sure you've already started planning for 2024. Do you have what's next for you? What's coming up for 2024? Do you have anything to share?
Just for me, I don't have to. Sorry, so understand, like, my daily process is a life sentence. Like, I'm going to continue to do the same thing I always do. And I shoot past the stars. Like for me, the sky is just a vision. It was never the limit. Right. So most people think sky is the limit. For me, it's just a vision, but it's never the limit. So next year it would be the same thing as today. It's go as far as I can go and continue to be where I'm supposed to be. Meaning, I appreciate where I'm at, and if I don't get any further, I appreciate that too, because it's, like I said, it's all, to me, it's all a gift and a blessing.
That's awesome. And one last thing for you to share. Do you have one last piece of wisdom to just inspire the audience and just give them some inspiration?
Yeah. I'll say two things real fast, and I won't get long-winded. First and foremost, no matter who you are, understand and know that we all struggle with something, and you are not alone. Point blank, you are not alone. There's somebody out there that's struggling just as much or even worse, right? And then secondly, embrace whatever trial, tribulation, or affliction and adversity you may be going through, or the discomfort that change places on you. Embrace that wholeheartedly, accept it, and use it to catapult to the next level in order to live your life of purpose over pleasure.
So good. So good. Well, I thank you so much for just being here today, sharing your story, being so transparent, and just from where you've been and to how you've gotten here. And so it's definitely inspiring of how you are making a mark and how you are impacting the world. And so I just appreciate you for taking the time today and being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, all right, friends, until next time.
This is your host, Rachel Bess, and I hope you loved the show. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, as well as share with a friend. If you would like, you can follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook under Rachel Best. You can also find me on my website at rachelbestspeaks.com.